Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative, and I am Ryan Clifton Bolin. Thank you for joining me. I don't watch The View. I've watched clips of The View on other YouTube channels and so forth, but I've never actually sat through The View. And I respect everyone's opinion, whether it be Whoopi Goldberg or whatever. I respect that they have the right of freedom of speech and express their opinions and their views. That's why it's called The View. Although for a significant amount of what they say, I totally disagree with. A lot of it is far left and is radical. Some things that Whoopi Goldberg have said, I have did a video on her and renouncing what she said about the Jews and so forth, and just crazy stuff. So I don't watch that show, but apparently what I found out in my reading is that one of the hosts, I guess Bihar, I think her name is, Bihar, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Please forgive me if I butchered her name. Says something that I believe is pretty radical in reference to this incident that happened in Buffalo. You know I'm going to go there. It happened in Buffalo about the young guy who allegedly was a white supremacist and decided to travel 200 miles to Buffalo to shoot and kill 10 black people. Well, 10 black people ended up dying in this shootout. And apparently the manifesto that he wrote, which is over some kind of like 100-something pages, made references to killing blacks and telling them to go back to their country and non-Christians and that type of thing. And I did a video on that, okay, about the possibility that this young man may be a program killer. But what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to come from a different perspective, because apparently Bihar or Bahar or whatever has made the accusation that those that are pro-life shouldn't be saying they're pro-life if they are if they're defending this guy with the AR-15 or whatever she said. Just real crazy, illogical things that she was saying, in my opinion. So we're going to get right into this article, and let's analyze this. So the article says, Bihar says, stop claiming you are pro-life if you are pro-AR-15s in the hand of a racist young man. Joy Bihar, you know, it's amazing how her first name is Joy. Seems like people on the far left are never joyful. They're always angry, don't you think? Joy Bihar told her host Monday on ABC's The View that people should stop saying they are pro-life if they were pro-AR-15s in racist hands. First of all, that makes no sense right there. Clearly, people on the right or anybody with any sense wouldn't be pro-AR-15 in the hands of someone who's racist. Clearly. What are you talking about? Cole's, excuse me, Cole's Anna Navarro said, quote, I want to read the tweet that Liz Cheney wrote today because I echo this. And every Republican with a conscience should be saying the same. The House GOP leadership has enabled white nationalism, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism. History has taught us that what begins with words ends in far worse. The GOP leaders must renounce and reject these views and those who hold them. Kevin McCarthy, I'm waiting for you. Here's the problem on this. This is where the statement she says, the House GOP leadership has enabled white nationalism, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism. My question is this: how is the GOP, the grand old party, in what way are they enabling white supremacists? In what way are they enabling white nationalism and anti-Semitism? In what way are their policies enabling this? Freedom of speech? Is that enabling white supremacy or white nationalists? What is a white nationalist? Is a white nationalist someone who is white that loves their country? We have a lot of black people that are nationalists. We got black nationalists. But these black nationalists, some of these black, if you want to call it these individuals white nationalists, we got black nationalists that are extreme in their views. I've seen them. There's a group right now, a section of the group right now where I work at Tower City. I'm not going to name their names right now, but they're outside all the time preaching about white supremacy and white this and white that and yada, 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 yada. It's claimed to be Christians, but they are not Christians in my book. Because nowhere does the Bible, Old or New Testament, teach what they're trying to push. And about a month ago, apparently some white lady said something that they didn't like, and they just hit the white lady with their sign, hit her upside the head with their sign and assaulted her. Now, if they were so pro-Christian and pro-whatever, why would you commit these acts of violence based on something somebody says? So you have black nationalists in our country. And these black nationalists, so-called black nationalists, are not lovers of America. They're lovers of Africa, which they claim to be from. Okay? Just a whole bunch of nonsense, in my opinion. But this whole idea of the House GOP or the Grand Old Party leadership has enabled white nationalism, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism makes no sense whatsoever. Because what policies that they have enacted that have enabled white nationalism, that have enabled this kind of action? You know, this guy, could we call him a white nationalist? Let me say something about this. She says, history has taught us that what begins with words ends in far worse. Here's the problem with her understanding of history. Had she really understood history, particularly in America, she would know that it was the Democratic Party that was the supporters of slavery. It was the Democratic Party that fought against the GOP or the old Republicans that wanted to liberate blacks. It was the Democratic Party that created the KKK. It was a Democratic Party that created the Jim Crow laws in the Deep South. They were all Democrats. So what kind of history is she talking about that enables white nationalism? Because clearly the older Democrats were white nationalists, and I believe the modern Democrats are white nationalists too. They're just using a different methodology with it now. I believe they're still white nationalists. They're just using a different methodology. They're real smart. They're conniving, okay? But they're using a different method. But back then, those were the ones that were actually committing, that were the true white nationalists. So what kind of history are you talking about? What kind of history, Bihar, joy or joyless, whatever, what kind of history are you talking about? When you say history has taught us that what begins with words ends in far worse, you're absolutely right. Because the party that more than likely that you represent, okay, were the ones involved in all the acts of violence. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's go on. BR said, can I just say one thing? You know, it's about white supremacy. Absolutely. Of course they're going to go there. They're going to take this situation and use it and use it and use it. But they're still far off, far as I'm concerned. It's also about, and I've said it before 2 minutes ago, it's also about gun proliferation. Gun proliferation. Really? You really think that's what it is? Stop saying that you are pro-life if you are in the hands, I don't understand how this is reading. Stop saying that you are pro-life if you are in the hands of young people. Didn't read right. I don't know what this is. Editing problem here. If you are pro in the hands of young people, I believe that's what that means here because it just has a letter P. If you are pro in the hands of young men that have wild ideas and racist theories in their heads. Forgive this crap in the background here. Motorcycles. If you are pro in the hands of young men that have wild ideas and racist theories in their heads that are listening to people like this, Elise Stefanik. Okay, first of all, that makes no sense because people on the right are not in support of this. They're not in support of someone taking a AR-15 or whatever and going and mowing down a bunch of innocent people. Where do you see that? Where do you see their pro from that? They're being pro-gun doesn't mean being a pro-nationalist, a violent nationalist. That doesn't mean that. You just support the right to own, lawful citizens to own guns. You just support the right for a human being to have a life and be allowed to live and not be aborted because someone looks at them as a burden. That's all that is right there. So stop trying to twist these words, Bihar, joyless Bihar, whatever you, joy Bihar, whatever. Stop trying to twist the words. You're off. Okay, let's go on. You know, somebody on Twitter said all of your staff should quit now. People, we're warning you because it's only going to get worse. Quit now, end quote. Really? What do you mean it's only going to get worse? What do you mean warning us? Are you saying your side is going to commit acts of violence? Is that what you're saying, sir, ma'am? Is that what you're saying? Warn us about what? What do you mean by it's going to get worse? What do you mean by that? Get worse in what way? What, they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade? Is that what's going to get worse? Worse for you, because you can't kill your baby. You don't have the backing of the federal government to abort your child. You may have the backing of the local government and the state government, but you don't have the backing of the federal government. What's the big deal? Chill. See how the division is? See, it's to me, this is foolish. It's just really foolish. It's really foolish to me, in my opinion, and common sense. Common sense, really. So it goes on to say, Holston said, quote, yeah, I think to Anna's point, we need to point fingers. And we had Elise Stefanik, whose spokesperson also said it was a senior advisor for Elise Stefanik. I have a legal note. I don't know who this Elise Stefanik person is. I'm just quoting the words, apparently what they said here. A senior advisor for Representative Elise Stefanik said in a statement that despite sickening and false reporting, the Congresswoman has never advocated for any racist position. BR said, oh, please. Okay. Like I said before, the only racist party that I know of then and even now is the Democratic Party. And I'm talking about the politicians. I'm not talking about the people that voted for them. So those of you that may be Democrat that's watching this video, okay, I'm not coming against you. I'm talking about the politicians, the Democratic politicians. I personally believe that they were racist then, and history shows they were racist then. You can't deny that. And they are racist now. They just doing it in a different way. They can't lynch black people like they used to, okay? They can't do those things like they used to. They can't create Jim Crow laws like they used to. Okay, so now they got to come up with different avenues and methods to be racist. And one of the methods which they do is they project the things that they do. They project it on the Republican Party. The things that they do, they project it on the conservatives. Unfortunately, masses of people believe that nonsense instead of studying for themselves and finding out what's really going on with the so-called Democratic Party, especially the progressive Democrats. But far to me on this note. She says we should point fingers. We should do some finger pointing. Is that what she said to say? Says, yeah, I think to Anna's point, we need to point fingers. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, you know what? We do need to point fingers. I'll say this. We need to point fingers as why we have this kind of stuff going on. But I'll tell you who we need to point fingers at. And this is my opinion. We need to point fingers at everybody. Now you say, wait, what do you mean? Ever since the 60s, when prayer was removed out of the schools, you couldn't pray no more. When the creation was removed out of the schools and replaced with evolution and moral relativism, when we told our young people that there's no such thing now as right or wrong, whatever's right for you is right for you, and whatever's wrong for you is wrong for you. There is no absolutes. And we began to teach this to our children. Okay, collectively, both the politicians and the 9-to-5er regular people, it's all our fault. It's all our past constituents' faults. The politicians and the people who sat back and said, no big deal. It's all good. Let me get my freak on. Let me get my party on. I ain't worried about nothing. So it's everybody's fault. We the ones sat back. The people in the past rather sat back and said, we don't need prayer in the schools. That's forcing religion on people. We don't need to teach right and wrong. You forcing religion on people. Just replace it with evolution, replace it with moral relativism, and tell our young people that there's no absolute right or wrong. Whatever makes you feel good, do it. Where is that getting them? High rates of pregnancy, high rates of suicide. Really? We reap what we sow. So that's the finger pointing. Point go all the way back decades. And in my opinion, we need to be pointing fingers at that instead of trying to point fingers at the Republican Party and the conservatives. That's a bunch of nonsense. And I know what she's doing. She's trying to twist it, but it ain't going to work with everybody, sister. All right. But I just wanted to say that. What do you guys think about this article? What do you think about what she said on The View? Show that I hardly watch it all. I just watch clips of. God almighty. What do you think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative with Ryan Bowling.